going to be an amazing night, and I'm already eyeballing a couple orders of those fried Oreos. I mean, Pluckers does a lot of stuff outstanding. The fried mac and cheese is way up there. Their grilled cheese is next level. It's award-winning, actually. Obviously, their wings are great.
Yep.
But kind of partial to those fried Oreos whenever I can get them.
Respect, dude, because it's kind of rare. You think about the state fair, something like that, but they're not just always – you can't just have fried Oreos within striking distance unless, of course, Pluckers.
Yeah, I salute them for, making sure.
What do they fry them in, Dawson? What kind of oil? Peanut oil?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably some canola or something.
Some neutral oil?
I imagine Crisco.
Yeah, so they're using lard? Just straight lard?
Butter? I'm not sure. But whatever they're doing, they're doing it right. Okay, the latest mock drafts, here we have Daniel Jeremiah saying Ted McMillan. There's so many Ted McMillan picks in here, Brian. How much is the threat that he doesn't get to you? Would you agree with the ESPN analytic numbers that say there's a 60% chance he's on the board when you pick?
Man, I'm talking to so many people ahead of you. I'm just trying to figure out what's going to happen in those first 10 picks. And you could say that there's probably 3 to 4 teams that are absolutely interested in Ted McMillan up there. And so I think you're going to have to walk a little bit of a minefield to him getting to you, depending on how this board falls. I know Jacksonville at 5, talking to them, they're trying to get up to go get Hunter at 2. If they stay there at 5, they're going to likely take the running back Genty. If they drop back a little bit, then they're considering McMillan there. So that's a team that could absolutely use him. The Raiders, what happens to the Raiders? How do they pivot if they lose Genty ahead of them? A lot of people had him going there. So, yeah, it's going to be, 60%.
That seems way too high.
It does in a way. It absolutely does. I think the Cowboys, if they're smart, and I think Will McClay understands this, I think they need to be ready to have a plan if he's not. And I think that's why we're having such a hard time pinpointing the direction that they're going to go.
Is Ted McMillan so good that you guys are going to be throwing a party as we count down the picks if he is on the board at 12?
I think it's going to be there's a lot of folks around the league that absolutely love the player. They love the makeup of the player. They love the athletic ability. They love the way he competes. Just all those types of things. Unfortunately for him, there was a video that surfaced about, hey, I really don't watch football kind of thing. And that's kind of one of those things where you look at it and you go, okay, well, there's a lot of people that play football that don't watch football, but he plays at a very, very high level when he's on the field. I would be very, very happy to see. I have Hunter as my number 1 receiver, but I'm kind of thinking the minority that I want to play him at receiver, so I'm going to put him at receiver. There's a lot of people that have him at corner. So if you take Hunter out of the mix, McMillan is my number one. I
don't think it's a red flag to not watch football, but if you don't watch it and don't love it, I think that's the thing.
Oh, he plays like he loves football because when you watch him run after catch, it's impressive. It really is. He is running through tackles. He's avoiding people. He takes routes across the middle. He's got that kind of toughness. Really a super impressive player.
Daniel Jeremiah gives the Giants Jackson Dart at 18, Abdul Carter at 3, although, Wolchuk, you were saying there's a report that Dart's not going to make it out of the top 10?
Yeah, I mean, we have Aditi Kinkabwala who's saying the Saints at 9 will not be letting Jackson Dart pass them. So who knows?
I think that's ideal Cowboys scenario because obviously that's one player that you're not interested in going off the board. And then also now all of a sudden teams that want Shador are thinking, okay, do we have to move up to get him now because he's the last of those particular quarterbacks?
Absolutely, and it continues to push. I mean, we thought maybe Tedero and McMillan, that would be a spot at 9 with the Saints that they'd be looking at him. I think he's going to make it to 12 unless you get the trade up from Chicago.
In Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, he gives the Eagles Jahad Campbell, the linebacker from Bama, there at the end of the first round. Is he going to be a good player, Brian?
Yeah, he will be. He's you're dealing with some guy that is that Alabama, that tough, hard-nosed type guy, sideline to sideline, tackles really, really well. He does have an injury history, and he's got some shoulders he has to deal with there, a little bit of arthritic knee as well. So
that's standard for a Bama linebacker.
Man,
isn't it?
I'll tell you what, the linebackers during the Nick Saban administration were always banged up.
Yeah.
But, man, did they play at a high level.
Washington gets Jade Bear in the corner from Texas that obviously Dan could obviously use him a lot. Pete Prisco's final mock draft, Shador is out of round one in his. He's got Ted McMillan to the Cowboys at 12. How much bust potential does the lack of speed present, Brian? Like, is this something that would be a long shot for him to bust, or does the 4.53 tell you, hey, this could go either way?
I think it's more likely that he is going to have success. His ability to play the ball in the air, his ability to run routes, his ability to separate. I think that he has been one of those guys that kind of understands. He builds up speed as he plays, and he's able to get separation that way. But if he gets caught where there's a guy that's trailing him or with him, then his ability to go up and get the football, he makes 50-50 balls, 80-20 balls. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, I think the bust factor on him is really not that much of something that I'm thinking about. I think he's just got so many other traits and skills to his game, it will make up for any little bit lack of maybe some speed he has.
In 3 years, if he's a Cowboy, is it him or CeeDee Lamb, best receiver on the team?
That's an interesting question. Remember, I tried to ask you guys this question. If
I think Dawson was out that day. We were at Shell Shack. You were crushing the crawfish. You were deep into your bag. Your confidence was at an all-time high, and he belched out the question, are these wide receivers going to be better than CeeDee Lamb?
Well, that's what I asked. I asked that question is, are the Cowboys going to draft a receiver that's better than CeeDee Lamb? And I got the, no.
I scoffed.
No, there was a lot of scoffing going on.
I'd probably scoff at that question.
I thought you were ball sacking me with the question.
No, I just was wondering.
It's a high bar.
If in fact,
a really high bar.
It is a very high bar. But, like I say, the thing with McMillan is he's got so much of those traits that you absolutely have to have success in the National Football League. And I think CD he's a rare talent in a lot of ways. I think McMillan might be better than him in the air with the ball.
Definitely is.
I mean, when it comes to those contested 50-50 type catches, I think McMillan is a better player that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have one thing to know about the top 100 prospects here. We go to Blogging the Boys. Your guy Dan Rogers has done this for you, and that's not a good time at all for the page to do that. Oh, snap. At least I didn't get the blue screen. At least I didn't. Oh, here we go. Okay, we are back. Okay.
We are back.
I got one thing to know. Let me jump down a couple. Defensive tackle Mason Graham. Could this guy be on the board? You're looking at overpowering missile who knows exactly where to go on each play. That sounds like something the defensive line could use around here, Brian.
Yeah, but you're starting to hear whispers that maybe there's a couple of players that we're very high on that Dallas is not. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that is that we've talked about him as top 10 players. Minbao from Missouri, and maybe Mason Graham from Michigan.
Okay.
But maybe the Cowboys are not as high on those guys. And you've seen some mock drafts where in even the Peter Schrager mock draft, Dallas had a chance to pick him at 12, and it went to Miami at 13. Schrager might know something there. I'm hearing some whispers too that we might be too high on the Missouri tackle and the Michigan defensive tackle for this football team.
How about the Georgia edge, Jalen Walker? We talked quite a bit about him earlier in the week. Undersized, athletic, hybrid linebacker with elite closing ability. Dad's a coach. There's so much to like about this guy. I think he's pretty much unbustable here, Brian. I'd love it if he's there at 12.
Yeah, this is a guy that he's got a lot of ability. Again, when you start to talk about how he can rush the passer, he tackles, he plays well in space. He could be an off-ball linebacker. I know my guys around the league are telling me, listen, if you play this guy as a full-time edge, he might wear down. You need to think about playing him off the ball and using him in certain situations, much like the Cowboys how they use Micah. And Micah plays a lot less off-ball. This guy probably needs to start off there and then work on the ball as far as a rusher. But, man, there is a lot to love. It's hard to poke holes in this guy. His teammates absolutely love him. He's a high character guy.
Are the Aggie Cowboy fans fired up about Shamar Stewart? High energy guy with nice size and power to work his way through traffic. What's your outlook on him, Brian? Is he going to be a good pro?
I tell you what, though, man, these Texas A&M guys have got me really stumped. And I don't know about Zach as well. And I watched them all really, really early, and then all of a sudden you had more film came in, and you're like, okay, is there any real improvement there? And it seems to me, though, you're talking about guys that you want them to, how they test and how they play, you want more production. You see pressures, but you don't see a lot of sacks. And so that's kind of where, I think the Cowboys are more of a results team than they are a traits team. And so I wouldn't be surprised if, we'll see how it all plays out for them. I'm sure they like the player. I'm not sure if they like him enough because the production right now just isn't there.